If there's anything that breaks apart, it shatters the narrative of black victimization and white racism, it is Asian people in this country and their experiences with coming here to save, work, invest, and live. Very, very successful. But inside of that little group, there's even something more shattering, more myth breaking. And that's the amount of black on Asian violence, the amount of black on Asian criminality that is rampant in so many places and so many cities in this country. I mean, the first time I came across it, and we've got tons and tons of examples of this as in my latest book, Don't Make the Black Kids Angry. One of the first times I came across it was up in San Francisco, where they did a study showing that 80% of the robberies on the streets of San Francisco are black on Asian. They call that San Francisco's dirty little secret, the black on Asian violence. Now Sacramento's in the middle of it. Enormous amount of black on Asian violence. It always goes through the same cycle. Cycle we're going to see in Durham in a second. It's always the same. A bunch of Asian people are victims over a period of time of this black on Asian violence. After a long time, some completely ineffectual city official, in this case the mayor of Durham, in that case the mayor of South Sacramento, they came out and pronounced they're going to do something about it. Damn it, we're not going to let this happen on our watch. And they just keep doing nothing about it except scratching their head going, I wonder what's going on with all these Asian people being robbed and murdered. Can anybody see a pattern here? If you ask an Asian person, they won't have any trouble at all identifying the pattern. Ditto in Philadelphia. I mean, so much black on Asian violence in Philadelphia. They've had demonstrations about it where the Chinese people are in the streets with signs going, Martin Luther King would not approve of this violence on Chinese people. I mean, all the Asian people and the immigrants, they're trying to be so polite. They're trying to pretend this is not a black on Asian thing. And the more polite they are, the more acquiescent they are, the more they come victims of this black on Asian violence. It went to ridiculous lengths in Philadelphia just a few weeks ago. We did a story on this. Philadelphia city government is giving the planning department permission to remove the plexiglass barriers in these little Asian stores in the ghetto, because Asian people protecting themselves from this level of black crime, violence, and mayhem, that is somehow an insult to black people. They had a hearing on it. They made the Asian people wait 3 hours at a city hall hearing and before the 3 hours, all the testimony they heard was from black people and from their apologists, just wondering why the Asian people need these plexiglass windows. I mean, why do we need that? And not one person stood up and said, but we've got a bad problem with black on Asian violence in this city. God, even the Asian councilman, he got stabbed in a street robbery last year. Came time he went to trial. The jury, the person who was on trial for trying to kill him was acquitted by a jury with lots and lots of black people on it. A jury with no Asian people on it. It's all over the country. People keep scratching their head. What's going on? Whatever could be going on in this country, in our city, in our town. Why are people picking on these Asian people? They've got a new one. They've got a new one in Durham. They've got a new cause. You know, when you say a cause, the cause dictates the solution. And so they've got a big problem in Durham where an Asian business owner was killed a few weeks ago. Now the mayor has come up with something bright, and he's a genius. The mayor has decided we're going to have to change the banking practices of Asians so somehow we can avoid this enormous level of black on Asian crime, violence, mayhem, and murder. Good Lord, where do we get these idiots?
Tonight, several Asian American restaurant owners in Durham met with city leaders about safety concerns. This comes weeks after a restaurant owner was shot and killed in his driveway. CBS 17's Amy Cutler is live at City Hall with more on what the group is demanding and how city leaders are responding. Amy.
Angela, these Asian American business owners say this murder is part of a larger problem. Tonight, the mayor agreed and vowed to act. They greeted one another in front of City Hall. Many Asian American business owners are concerned. They say they're being targeted for robbery and they want the city to do more to protect them.
We will find some practical solution to provide more protection.
Clearly, these people have been targeted. There's no question.
The meeting was held behind closed doors. It comes 3 weeks after the murder of Hong Zhang. The owner of China Walk was shot and killed during an armed robbery in his own driveway. His family says their home and business were broken into 5 times since 2015. They tell us 2 of the crimes were never solved. 12 different Asian American groups signed on to this letter, writing that thousands of their members have expressed anger and anxiety.
We need to help our Asian American merchants and all of our immigrant merchants have a better situation with banking so that they're not having to take money home every night.
The letter included 3 requests. They want the FBI to investigate Zhang's death. They say 8 people were involved in the armed robbery. They want the police department to keep Zhang's family updated on that investigation. Finally, they're asking that members of the Asian American community be invited to take part in a special task force focused on making Durham safer.
We are hoping it will getting better.
You know, why don't we play the story out of Los Angeles? It's kind of a reminder this stuff's been happening for quite some time. It's been happening, and people have been in denial, deceit, and delusion about it for as long as it's been happening.
We begin tonight with an extraordinary interview with an African-American ex-con who admits he targeted Asians. That comes as the Asian community is reacting to a series of attacks that have stoked racial tension. But as our Mike Sugarman found out, these crimes may go beyond race.
We seen them. We decided to just go out and get them, you know. We needed some money for another night at the hotel.
But they were Asian.
They were Asian, once again.
21-year-old Amanzi Emenike talks about robbing Asians like it was no big deal. During his teen years, it wasn't.
We got busted for a hate crime due to the fact of when they linked us to the other robberies that, you know, eventually caught up to us, they were about 75 to 80% Asian.
No Asian. I mean, no one should fear walking on the street in a broad daylight.
But they should have during Amanzi's reign of terror, which ended with his arrest in 2007 at the age of 17. Is he a racist?
Some of my best friends and closest nearly and dearly to me is Latino and Asian. I got Asian friends that I'll die for. I got Latino friends that I'll die for.
But Anansi did target Asians because of the perception that they wouldn't fight back, wouldn't go to police because of a language barrier.
We would go somewhere where we know a lot of Asians carry a lot of money, like for a good example, Stonestown. That was a place where we know a lot of Asians came out there more spending lots of money, so we knew they had something.
What the Eco Center is like this indoor classroom where people...
Munzi has cleaned up his act after spending time in prison. He's now a video producer at the news agency Youth Outlook, and he offers a unique view of the high-profile black-on-Asian crime recently. A killing in Oakland, attack on a Muni platform, beating of an elderly man.
It makes sense why they would say it was for racial reasons and why they would blow it up to be a racial reason now. It makes a lot of sense. Because when you look at it...
Well, race did play a part in Amanzi's robberies. His victims were targeted because of race. But for specific reasons, they presented for him a crime of opportunity. We obviously can't tell you about all such crimes, but it does offer a different perspective to the debate. San Francisco's police chief will hold a town meeting tomorrow to talk more about the problems.
Really? Because what's the bottom line after talking to him, do you think?
Well, I really do think it was crimes of opportunity, but it was a racial crime because he was targeting Asians, because he had this perception that they had a lot of money, wouldn't go to police.
And they'd be an easy target.
And they would be an easy target, just as Latinos, too, would not go to police.
So much envy, so much jealousy, so much resentment directed at Asians. I'm a big fan of Asian people in this country, the people who come here and just, they get a job, they have families, and they just do the right things. On some level, I think a lot of activists are aware that the very existence of Asian people in this country belies the greatest hoax in this country, which is the hoax of black victimization, that black people are relentless victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere. That explains everything, because all you have to do to shatter that little fairy tale is to say, what about Asians? Are they victims of white violence? Are they victims of white racism? Or are they victims of black violence that they're just too damn nice to talk about in public, and it's getting them killed? Well, that's the answer. And everybody knows the reason why, because pointing out black violence, mayhem, and chaos directed at Asian people makes the black kids angry.